Hey everybody, I am excited about this one. We are almost to Russellville, Arkansas. We're headed to a place called All Things Marine. It's owned and operated by a good friend of mine, Evan Barnes. I'm excited to get this boat rigged by someone who's a professional in rigging and a professional in fishing. So Evan is just a great dude. He's really smart, really educated in rigging boats, maximizing your electronics, having things sturdy, having them last, just having the boat rigged in a clean manner to where it's going to maximize the effectiveness of it. And I'm excited to get this new Phoenix 921 Elite rigged by the very best, and I'm also excited to help him along the way so that I can learn. But more importantly, if I run into an issue, which I'm likely to in a non-tournament season on the Bassmaster Opens this year, I'm going to know where to go, how to fix it, how to make it right, because I'm going to take part in the rigging. So y'all follow along. I'm going to walk you along the journey. We're going to show you how we rig this 921 Elite Phoenix and spend some good time with my buddy Evan Barnes over here. Here we are. Just a little shop in Russellville, Arkansas, but the man is going to do me up right. Let's go get it done. All right, we were so eager to get started. We got way ahead of ourselves, and we've got about half the boat done in 30 minutes with all the good help. But Evan Barnes right here, Zach, Chase, and David, and they are plugging away. We're gonna get this thing put together. We've already mounted a Monster Marine charger. We're working right here. David's got the Boat Logix mount going. We got the Boat Logix mount for up front and just getting it put together. So we're gonna try to show you the steps along the way. Nothing too complex now other than drilling some holes, mounting some stuff, but y'all stay tuned. Okay, these boys move a lot quicker than I can even run this GoPro, but we've got Monster Marine lithiums in here. Those are mounted, ready to go. I didn't even know they were anywhere near being done. Boat Logix getting set up. We're working on putting the Lowrance active target box up here. Mr. Leslie is working on that. We're gonna run it in this side rod box, and then we're about to mount the Ghost mount. So everything's coming together a lot quicker than I thought it would. All right, Evan lined up the Ghost mount. He went by 1.5 inches in front of the nose of the boat is where the shaft is supposed to land. So we measured off the bracket, off the mount, lined that up, drilled some pilot holes, got them bored out, and we're ready to lay the mount back down and mount the bolts. And what Evan was telling me, always use a marine grease on the threads to make sure that you don't cross thread these stainless bolts, because you can really run into a lot of trouble since you're digging under the nose of the boat, getting under that fiberglass to feed the nuts onto the bolts. Power poles have gone on thanks to this man here. Power pole pumps are tucked over there in the far corner. Everything's clean and neat. These guys are going above and beyond to make sure that things are done right. I'm liking what we got going. Well, we finished up yesterday with a whole lot done on the boat, and today's really kind of tidy up work, finishing power up front with 2 active targets, getting the graphs mounted up there, and then finishing tying in power here at the console. Phoenix has a really good power harness, and the tie-in for that is up here for the stuff going up front. Power poles are done, batteries, charger, all that good stuff. So I think Evan says probably 3 hours from getting done, and everything, there's been no corners cut, everything's done right. So I'm extremely excited to get this thing completely buttoned up and get it on the water. There is a fully rigged 921 Elite Phoenix. Thanks to my brother in Christ right here, Evan Barnes, and thanks to Chase, and thanks to David. And Zach already left, he had to go watch kids, but full team effort. Even Evan's dad helped out yesterday. And the coolest thing about this whole rig is Evan did it like he would do his tour boat. So it's these guys working with him don't cut corners. He expects absolute excellence as far as rigging these boats, and that's the way that this one was done. Be sure and keep in mind, I drove 5.5 hours to have this guy rig my boat. So if you're anywhere in the Russellville, Arkansas area, you need to check out All Things Marine on Highway 7 in Centerville. So Evan is this is his gig other than being a professional angler, and he can do everything from. Is there anything you can't do on a boat? I mean, even fiberglass repair. I saw.
Yeah, we've got a guy that does fiberglass repair. I mean, you name it, start to finish. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Like you brought it to us, boat, motor, trailer. That was it. We did literally everything else. That was. I mean, it's a big project. Turned out good.
Yep. And got it done in just a couple of days, which is, of course, he had a lot of help really chipping away on it, and he was able to open up some time for me. So a project like this, I would expect, would normally take a little longer than that, you know, but the main thing is it's done right. So now we're gonna go put it on the water, and I'll give you a full walkthrough when we make sure that everything is squared away. Hey, we are on the water. We're afloat in the Phoenix. Evan's not with me. Yesterday we were pressed for time. It started getting dark on us by the time we got squared away. We just dumped the boat in. It was dang near pitch black dark. Made sure everything worked. Then I hooked up and drove home. Got home a little after midnight. So got a beautiful day today for January to break in an engine. It's like mid 50s, not too much wind. I'm here on Yellow Creek and Pickwick. I'm gonna hit the Tom Bigby Waterway, just a straight shot, run to Bay Springs, run back, do my my engine break-in now on a Mercury. You can see another video I've done with the engine break-in in depth, but you're going to alternate RPMs every 2 minutes, and every 10-minute interval for 1 minute you're going to run wide open throttle, and that's the break-in for the first 2 hours. And then after that, you don't run wide open throttle more than 5 minutes. So the engine break-in is pretty simple. It's very important that you do it right. I don't even like doing a bunch of idling, but right now I've got to idle out of this no wake zone. But what Evan did to this boat is just amazing, the way he's got me set up on my batteries. I'll show you that more in depth when I get off the water. The units, I've got really good voltage coming to them. It's just, everything's clean and run right, no corners cut. So I'm so excited about that. But I'll give you a good walkthrough when I get done breaking the engine in, and that'll conclude the Phoenix rig from All Things Marine and Evan Barnes in Centerville, Arkansas. All right, this boat is put together. Now, I showed you quite a bit of the rigging, you know, the process, but there was so much going on, I couldn't just in-depth, step-by-step. The video would have been an hour long, and there was 5 things going on at one time. So now I'm going to give you a good in-depth walkthrough of the Phoenix 921 Elite, how it's rigged, a few of the cool options that I ordered on this boat that, you know, maybe something if you're in the market for a new Phoenix, might be some options that you want to consider or look at. So here we go from the very back, from the engine. I've got a Mercury leash. I'm sorry, a leash for the Mercury. Leash is in no affiliation with Mercury, but so what this does, it's harnessed from the jack plate, and it has an extra collar that connects to this one around the kind of midsection of the engine. The purpose for this is if you're running, which sometimes we run some sketchy places, we have to, and if you inadvertently hit an underwater obstruction or a floating logs, you know, something, anything of that nature, I'm sure you've seen the videos, that engine can, in the worst case scenario, actually flip up and come over into the boat. The prop is, you know, possibly still spinning if the auto shut off hadn't cut it down. There's so many high RPMs in those props. So what that leash does, keeps the engine from coming over on top of you in the event of worst case scenario when you hit something. So got that for peace of mind. Power pole blades, of course, and of course they're mounted to the jack plate. Got the hydraulics run right through there in the splash wheel, and that's a 12-inch setback TH Marine hydraulic jack plate. And here is the battery compartment. So the pumps ended up going on this side. This was the best place to fit those in. I like that because they're easily accessible. In my past rigs, they were tucked way back under there, and if you needed to go in and set up your connectivity in your app, the Sea Monster app, you couldn't reach in here, hit that orange button without taking the back plate off. So really like where those pumps are, easy to get to if you ever need to top off fluid. And my favorite thing about this back compartment, 2 Monster Marine cranking batteries. We've got them spaced there enough to keep my spare prop holder there and keep a prop back there, but they are run. So the cool thing that Evan did this year, I have run these in the past just in parallel, but what Evan has done for me this year is he's put a breaker right here between the 2 cranking batteries, and I can either trip that to where I'm just running off of 1 cranking battery, and I know that I have another one that has a full reserve. It's almost like having just 1 single cranking battery times 2, or I can close that breaker, and now the power is being shared within them, or they're being run on parallel. So that would be parallel. The other would be just like having a reserve. So if I had it set up with the breaker tripped and this one runs dead, when I open that breaker, this one reallocates power between the 2, therefore being just like having an extra battery, kind of on reserve. And I've done the same exact thing. Let me walk you around the engine here. I've done the same exact thing on my 36 volts. And that breaker is actually up under here. You might can see it. Try to get you in there so you can see it up under here. Same principle. I've always run those on parallel, but now I have the option. And an argument that Evan made to me about why you may want to leave that breaker open and just run 1 is, of course, you have to have the breaker closed when you charge them, so they both get the charge. But the thing about that is if there's ever some type of issue with 1 battery, like worst case scenario stuff is what we have to prepare for when we travel this much and there's this much on the line. If there's ever any type of issue whatsoever and you're running a single reserve battery, then you still have that backup battery. It's literally like having a spare battery up in your rod box that you can whip out and drop in here and replace without having to do all the hardware and drop it in there and replace it. It's replaced by a click of a button to open that, or actually close that circuit to where the battery storage from the reserve battery flows through. So I may run it on parallel some, I may run it, you know, closed off, but I like having that option. As far as back here, the last thing is the Monster Marine charging system. This is the first time I've run that. I've heard nothing but just amazing things over how it manages power, how it charges, how it is built for charging these marine lithium batteries. So I'm excited to have that mounted back there. It's out of the way. It's really light. Just out of sight, out of mind. And of course, got the plug into it right there. One cool thing while I'm talking about it, because it's hanging off my arm here, if you have a shop, hang you an extension cord off the ceiling up there. I've actually got, I had my electrician put in an outlet up there, but you could even get a 30-foot extension cord and route it, you know, staple it to the rafters or what have you. But hanging that cord allows you to plug it in right there, and you don't have a cord hanging off the side of the boat that you trip on, get stuff tangled up in. It's mounted to where when I back up there, it's literally hanging right there. Makes life easy. All right, moving forward. So a cool feature that I've noticed towing this boat over to Evan's place in Arkansas and back is I've got dual shocks on this trailer. And man, when you hit a bump, like I-40 from Memphis to Little Rock, it's treacherous. So much truck traffic, potholes. Man, the speed limit's 75. If you don't go 75, you feel like you'll get run over. And when you hit a bump at 75, and my old trailer, you know, without the shocks and my past boats, it was treacherous. It was traumatizing. You'd look in that rearview mirror and just see the boat bouncing, knowing that's displacing your stuff, putting wear and tear on your engine mounts, on everything. Well, with these shocks, the trailer literally rides better than my F-250 does. F-250s are not a luxury vehicle by any means, but it's incredible how well that boat just absorbs bumps, how the trailer absorbs those bumps on the road, and the boat is just back there gliding. So I'm really proud of that. I'll get you in here, give you a little bit of a look at it. So there's the shocks. Trailer has road armor, It's going to clean up really well. It's going to keep from getting chips and rust from road grime. So I think it's called Road Armor. I'm sorry, Phoenix, if I'm wrong, but it's the coating that you can get put on the trailer that it just makes it feel so much more durable and resistant to the conditions. And the trailer is what takes the blunt of that when you're traveling all over the country. Icy roads, you go to salty conditions, places near the coast, so on and so forth. It's a little dirty right now because I've had to get in there with dirty shoes, but the cool thing is it's so easy to clean up. I can wipe it out, literally spray something in it and wipe it out, or I can hose it off. But I got the C-deck for the flooring. Just not a big fan of carpet since bass boats have started giving us that option. And as we move forward, 921 has a huge front deck that I'm very happy about. Lowrance Ghost. So I'll say one thing about the Ghost real quick. A lot of people are talking about it's kind of the hype now. And I did this last year. I had to run an indicator on my shaft and my trolling motor for forward sonar. But a lot of people are saying that this the arrow in this, the direction pad on the Ghost just cannot possibly be used for forward sonar. So this will be, since 2020, this will be the 5th Ghost that I've run. And last year's model is the only one that the magnet was not spot on with. This one, this year, the magnet is the directional pad, and that magnet system that it runs off of is exactly spot on. I can make a 100-foot cast in the beam of my active target transducer based off of this arrow every time. You can watch it. It doesn't have any lag. So what I'm getting at, before you go spend $130 to $250 on the alternate systems for this arrow or the indicators for the shaft, use your Ghost. Make sure that it's one of those that the magnet didn't line up just right with, because 4 out of 5, and especially this one this year, spot on. Factory standard. Don't have to do anything to it. So I'm running a 47-inch Lowrance Ghost, and I thought about putting a 52 on it for big water, but it seems like this Phoenix, maybe the nose just doesn't sit quite as high as my past boats. So I'm new to a Phoenix. I'm having to learn those little intricacies like that. I may put a 52 on when I go up to like St. Clair to try to keep that blowout from happening, being able to use forward sonar in 3 or 4 foot waves, but we'll see. As of now, I'm very, very happy with that 47. Even in some rough water, I'm not getting any prop blowout. 2 Lowrance HDSs up front on the Boat Logix mount. As far as rigging and running the electronics, I've got a board over here. Everybody's always, talking about where you mount those additional boxes for the Lowrance stuff for the active target. If you're running Garmin for your live scope stuff, you've got those additional boxes. I'm sure Humminbird does too, but I don't know enough about them. I've got them in this box, and without pulling the stuff out, y'all get the picture. Y'all have seen what the black boxes look like. So I've got them on a plate that is bolted to the inside wall of this, where it's out of sight, out of mind. It's not gonna, impede me with my tackle storage or anything like that, because I just don't use this for a lot of tackle. That's that center box. And I've got them routed in there securely to that plate, and the wires tucked up away. So it's easy to get to. It's within distance to run to both the transducers. It's right there near the direct power source that Phoenix builds in their boats, kind of like a direct power harness system. So it was easy to feed power to, easy to tuck away, get out of there, and not have it in the way. So that was a convenient place on this Phoenix to mount both of my active target module boxes. I mentioned Boat Logix at the bow, Boat Logix also at the console. And one thing that I'm really excited about on this Phoenix is I have such a good view of my units from where they sit on this shelf that Phoenix builds into their consoles. But what I'm most excited about is I don't feel like I'm trying to stretch my neck out like a turkey trying to look over a log to see over these units. It's a perfect height. I'm about a average height man, right at 6 foot, just a little shy. And sitting in this seat, I have a beautiful view of what's in front of me. You know, we put so many electronics on boats nowadays, sometimes you forget that you have to see where you're going. And there seems to be more idling accidents and all that stuff. But the way that Phoenix has designed their console, the way that BoatLogic's built this graph mount for me, it is rock solid. You see double plates right here connected to that steel plate inside this one-piece console. This thing is just incredibly solid, not going anywhere, but it's the perfect level where it's just, the steering wheel is not up here where it's impeding my view of my units, but I can still see over the units. It's just the perfect height to be able to navigate with ease and use my units with ease. So really pumped about that. Of course, a hot foot, you know, I thought about going back to the good old console or the good old throttle drive for my outboard, but it's just so nice when you get in really rough water to use that hot foot and drive with two hands, and so that's why I choose to use that hot foot. I feel like it's a little safer. Those long runs, or if you're just cruising down the lake, it is kind of nice to be able to not have to control it with your foot. But safety, practicality, what I would use the most, went with a hot foot. As far as rigging and options, another cool option that I got on this Phoenix is we have a place to store your net. Well, I opted out of that, so I've still got that plate down there, the drain plate in the floor of my 921 Elite, but I got a gigantic tank, and I don't know the gallons. I think it's 56. It's well over 50. There's a huge tank in here, and what you have to do if you opt for that extra option, the larger tank, then you lose the ability to store a net down there. I fish Bassmaster. We can't use nets. I guide. I fish some little buddy stuff around home sometimes. I can deal with a net, just, you know, laying loose or put it up in that gigantic center box if I need to. So the big tank was a no-brainer for me for when we go up north and fish, you know, those gigantic lakes, places that we have to travel a lot. Might save me from having to stop and get gas, or keep me from having to worry about it, and that's a big thing. Dual disc brakes really helps this trailer, you know, your truck stop this big boat. The road armor on the trailer, and I think that's about it. So guys, there's the breakdown of the Phoenix. I hope that you could get something from the build on it, how we rigged it, the options that I've opted for. This is my first, as I've mentioned before, first Phoenix, but I've run it, you know, fished a little buddy tournament out of it, put the 2-hour engine break in on it before that. So far, I'm absolutely impressed with the ride, the build, the fishability, just the layout of it, the openness. I'm excited to catch a lot of fish out of this boat. But if you have any questions on anything that I mentioned in this video, please drop a comment. If you have any questions on how to get in touch with Evan, it's All Things Marine. I'll link his Facebook link or his business info in the description below, so check that out. And y'all be sure and follow me along. We'll get the Bass Opens cranked up here in just a few days as we leave for Lake Okeechobee. Got 9 events. Need to finish in the top 9 to try to make the Elite Series. So y'all stay tuned, and I think this year is going to be a great year. So thank y'all for watching. Make sure hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.